Hi, and welcome to Audio Diaries. I'm Ralph Van Dyke, founding creative director of audio specialist agency Eardrum. Today's guest is a marketer that really gets the power of sound in all its forms, whether it's a mnemonic like the in Schwebbervessens, a chocolatey jingle like this, wouldn't it be nice if the world... or a French voiceover like this.
Did you know that petit miam is French for yummy, monsieur?
Petit miam, it's French for yum.
He's been across the development of a whole range of different audio brand assets and then leveraging them across audio platforms like radio, podcasts and Spotify. His name is Darryn Wallace, Marketing Innovation Director for dairy and non-alcoholic brands at Lion Co.
If I look back in my past, I spent a long time working in the Cadbury Schweppes organisation, so working on a brand like Cadbury Dairy Milk.
Right, yep.
I'd say is one where we really used a soundtrack or our own jingle. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, let's remind everyone of what that sounded like.
Wouldn't it be nice if the world was Cadbury?
There we go.
That campaign ran for a long time and was very good at reinforcing our overall joy and happiness and sort of family sharing positioning for Cadbury Dairy Milk.
Mm-hmm. And what about Schweppes?
I think another brand might be Schwebbervessens. So, a brand that we spoke about stimulating all our senses, whether it was sound, sight, touch, feel, etc. So the Schwebbervessens and how we brought that to life with our advertising was one that we really leveraged on audio.
That's true. And it was a great sort of... benefit of that sort of onomatopoeic sound was that it actually suggested freshness because, when you open a bottle, the louder that sound is, the fresher it appears,
It was really taking a commoditised category and trying to bring that next level of experience through a whole lot of sensory pieces. But a big element of the positioning is exactly what you said. In the last few years that I was working on the brand, we wanted to keep it youthful as well. So we were able to bring sort of a youthful energy, and we used quite high energy dance soundtracks. We talked about the cocktail revolution and the ability to modernise mixed drinks and cocktail making for young adults. And we were still able to use that sound mnemonic to bring a real youthful energy to the brand as well. So it did play at a premium, but it also played to a modern expression of, sophisticated fun and enjoyment.
When I asked the guys in the office which ad they remembered for Yoplait, they all unanimously said Petit Miam.
Yeah, so Yoplait was a pioneer of the yogurt category and they brought it to life beautifully by Petit Miam stands for French for yum. So it was perfect for, I guess what Yoplait is famous for is good tasting fruited style yogurts, and how do they bring the sort of charm and specialness of the French culture to life for kids and families and that yumness. So, yeah, French for yum, Petit Miam. So it's still a really strong brand for us, and to this day is still performing really well in the market, which is good.
It's also a nice use of accents, which made it stand out so much and as relevant today as it was then. And it also reminded me of an ad that we made for Nesquik, which was actually using language at its core and reminding parents of the sort of how taxing their kids' days are at school. Let's have a listen to that one.
Now repeat after me. Au revoir.
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 After a hard day's school, a glass of milky Nesquik really satisfies.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Happiness quick with tasty Nesquik.
In some of the brands you're working on now, you've been experimenting with Spotify.
Yeah, so I think what we're seeing is the traditional radio media, if you like, continuing to innovate and really evolve. And so over the last probably 3 or 4 years, we've seen the use of audio be able to really continue to maintain reach in the marketplace. And the accessibility that mediums like Spotify or podcasts offer still allow us to reach lots of consumers and move that medium from traditional in the car, in the home, to also being mobile and out and about as well. So Dare would be an example. So Dare's all about being at your best, mentally alert, the real coffee with the fresh dairy, giving you that great pick-me-up to start the day, and bringing that to life in Spotify has been really interesting. So bespoke content for that medium, and just reaching a whole lot of people when they're out and about.
And how have you used the data that Spotify gives you to actually tailor the ads?
So what we've been able to do is really play to different occasions that we think are relevant. So whether we're, an office environment where we might be talking about losing concentration in a meeting and staying alert, or you might be a more working blue-collar environment where you're a tradie and you're out on the job and you need to keep your concentration up and avoid being distracted. So we'll bring a variety of different occasions to life to meet different audiences, because what we're getting is that data about, who's streaming, what they're listening to, when they're listening, and we equally get the real-time feedback as to how long did they listen through it, did they skip, what did they enjoy.
For what brands have you used podcasting?
So we've done some work recently with Gary Meehan where we've partnered up in his podcast, and he's spoken specifically about how he would use Farmers Union Greek yogurt, how he'd prepare it, what sort of meals he'd incorporate it into, and how he'd cook with it. And so one of our things is our ambitions, if you like, is just educating more Australians on how they can cook fresh meals with the versatility of Farmers Union Greek yogurt, and within the context of his podcasts, use him as key talent, if you like.
Yeah, well, you get that real endorsement in a medium that there's such high engagement. And it's so much more seamless in audio when you have that integration of a brand into the content, which is it's hard for visual media to do that as seamless in such a seamless way, because suddenly you have a pack introduced on the screen and it feels kind of heavy-handed. But in this context, it feels very, very organic, to use a yogurt pun.
Very good.
Thanks, yeah, and I practiced that one.
Yeah, the medium allows us, if we do it well and we use the right people and integrate it, the ability to really get across our whole product and brand experience and message.
So what do you think brands can do to be more sort of audio ready, so they're better equipped to use some of the audio platforms, be they sort of the traditional ones like radio or some of the newer ones like streaming and podcasts and smart speakers?
The thing that we're doing a lot of work with from a brand point of view is making sure we have audio assets. So in a traditional media sense, you might have a regular sign-off that might be written, might not even be said out loud.
Yep. It
may then not have a sound expression to it. So, I think there's a number of brands. We spoke about Schweppes, for example, but, I think McDonald's do it really well with how they would sign off their ad with a sound visual separate than an audio visual.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most powerful audio assets on the planet, I'd say. We're working with a number of brands doing that exact same thing. And, I mean, it's not something that can be rushed. To define your brand in audio is something that it's deceptively simple. And I've had instances where someone said, oh, look, can you add an extra 45 minutes to the end of the session and make us a logo? And no, we can make you a really crappy one in 45 minutes, but we're not going to be able to do an audit to find out how it's going to be used, look at your competitors. It's great that you're doing it and you're doing it well and you're putting thought into it, because it's a great asset to be able to exploit all these new platforms that are available.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that, because you take a couple of our brands, like a new brand, like the Culture Co. It's not that straightforward, because you do want to make it memorable and you do want it to be really distinctive and last. So it's not as straightforward as just saying what your key creative line might be. It's also what is the sting or the audio, sound that wraps around that.
Yeah, well, listen to this space, as they say.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, Darryn. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing some of your insights and the experiences that you've had on different brands. Like we said, we'll be listening out for how you're embracing the audio world.
Thank you, Ralph. It's been nice chatting to you. Thank you.
Nice one. Thanks a lot. My thanks to Darryn Wallace, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's audio diary. And if you're asking yourself the question, how does my brand sound? Well, you're not alone. Eardrum has helped many of Australia's largest brands answer that question, and our audio branding specialists would love to do the same for you. You can email us at info@eardrum.com.au. Thanks for listening.